A dado is a groove that goes across the board, or a housing. But what happens if you don't want the groove to go all the way across the board, you just want it to stop halfway? Let's make a stopped dado. I've done a few videos on dados in the past, and they're relatively easy. You cut on either side, you remove the material in between. But if you want to make it stopped, how do you cut most of the way across the board without cutting all the way across the board? And unfortunately, last time I did a video on the topic, I did it through a board that was only about 2 inches wide, and that made it really look really easy, and now people are like, oh yeah, that's a simple one. How do you do it if it's actually not simple? So today we're going to do it in a board that's 6 inches across, and I'll try to make it simple, because honestly, it is, as long as you don't overthink it too much. So I've got this scrap piece of white oak, and I'm going to assume that I have a shelf that I want to dado into the side of this. And so we're going to cut a line there. Then I'm going to take my actual shelf board. I'm going to put my knife into that line that I had before, put this up against, and then take the knife off, move it over, and just put a little tick mark on the other side. With that tick mark in place, I can bring in the knife, slide it up against that, and draw my second line. Those are the 2 sides of my dado, and because I marked them with the actual piece of wood, I know that that's going to be precisely the exact width that this needs to be. Then we need to mark the end of this stop. How far in do we want it to stop? And so I'm going to set up this marking gauge, and I'm going to mark in somewhere here. And I want to make this one tricky and just have a little bit of material out here, making it a little bit more delicate. I want to make sure that these lines extend all the way out to that new line we created. And now I've got a fully marked out housing on the front face. The question is, how far down do we want it to go? We're going to carry these lines in, and I only want this to go in about 1/4 inch or so. Rarely do you want it to go in more than about 1/3 of the thickness you have. And then I can play connect the dots with a marking gauge. Now that I have the lines on the top and down here, I want to cut that out. But if I do it in the middle of my vise, I'm going to be running into the vise itself. So I like to let it overhang on this. Some people like to actually do it in a bench hook. Personally, I love using the actual bench to hold things in place. For the saw work, I'm going to be using a sash saw. It has cross-cut teeth, relatively fine. You can also use a carcass saw. Because we're going across the fibers, we want cross-cut teeth. I'm going to start it on my corner of the board, and I have my thumbnail there, letting the thumbnail slide on the plate, and that gives me precise placement so I can put it right on that line. And I'm just going to go a little ways along the line until I'm down to depth on this side here. And now I'm going to start lowering the toe and following that line across the board. I'm making sure that I'm taking a full stroke. I don't want to take small strokes because then the teeth stay in the cut and they never get rid of their sawdust. It always just builds up in there. You want to make sure that you come back far enough so the sawdust can fall out, and you go forward far enough so that the sawdust can fall out. And I'm only going to cut with this up to somewhere around here. I've still got another 3/4 inch to go. I just don't need to go all the way. Then rinse and repeat, do the other side. Going all the way across really doesn't have any benefit because we're going to be using the chisel to remove that anyways. For the majority of the waste, I'm going to be using 2 chisels. I want one that is slightly thinner than my board is wide. So if I have a 3/4 inch groove, I'm actually going to choose the 1/2 inch chisel or maybe the 5/8. But then for all the stop cuts, I'm going to grab a larger 1 inch, maybe 1.5 inches, because it's just easier and faster than doing a whole bunch of little cuts with a thinner chisel. Now here's a relatively important part. To start this off, I'm going to grab the chisel and I'm going to have my fingers down here holding it delicately. I'm just going to lightly tap it. I don't want to push this in big time. I just want to mark the wood. If I really crank on it and drive this thing down, this chisel is going to push that line away and I'm going to end up with a groove that's fatter than I want it to be. So I'm just lightly tapping it, and I'm just going to do the last couple inches out here. Flip it over and do the same thing on the other side. Lightly tap it. Some people like to come in with the router plane right here and start removing the material. And honestly, at times I do that too. I find it a lot of fun. The router plane is a very enjoyable tool when it's set up right, but it's honestly a bit slower because you have to take lighter cuts. And so for most of the material, I'm just going to use that 1/2 inch chisel. I'm going to put that chisel in about halfway down to the line, and I'm going to lower the handle so I'm aiming up. And I'm just going to go until I blow out chips. Then rinse and repeat farther back. And then I'm going to go down a little more and blow out some more chips. And I'm going to get really, really close to that line, but I'm not going to go into it. And now, I'm going to remove most of the material that way. But you see, I'm only going about halfway back because I'm going down where the saw cuts are at. I want to go a little farther back to where the chisel stop cuts are. But oh no, it's deeper than my chisel is long. Now I could go get a big paring chisel, or I could take the chisel and Flip it over, it does the exact same thing. The other nice thing about bevel down is it gives me more control because I can let it ride or I can let it fall and I can choose exactly where it wants to go. If it's bevel up, I can only go down. I can't curve it upwards. So I'm just gonna lightly take this back. Just gonna pop these out until I get close to the line. And at this point, I wanna be very, very careful. I don't wanna blow out past that line, but I wanna take off most of the material until I get close to it. And then I'm just going to do a little bit of light tapping in, and I'm not near my line. I'm off of it by about 1/16 of an inch away. I wanna keep that clear. So now we've gone down a ways. Now we can bring in the chisel, put it right into that line we had before. And now that we have a line on there, I can actually hit it a good bit heavier. I can go down a little ways more. Follow that all the way back along the line on one side, and then onto the other side. Flip it over, go bevel down. And remember, stay away from that outside edge. We don't want to break that off. For a 1/4 inch deep groove, it usually takes me about 3 passes to get really close to the bottom. After 3 passes, it looks to be very, very close to flat-ish, and I know I'm a little ways away from the line here, so that's really close to where we want. Once we get down close to it, then we can bring in the router plane. I want to set the router plane so that it's not hitting most of the places, but some places it takes just a little bit of a bite there. That's what I want. I'll go all the way down one side, all the way on the other side, and we're going to adjust. Now, I'm going to show you the trick to the Stanley 71. A lot of people complain about the slop in this, but that slop is there for a reason. What I want to do is I want to roll this until it's all the way down at the bottom end of the slot. Then I can loosen the knob, and the iron drops by the thickness of one shaving. Tighten it up. And so you can always adjust it one shaving by rolling it to the bottom of the channel, loosening it, letting it drop, tighten it back up. Really quick and easy way to adjust it by the amount you want for one shaving. And then you can see how that one shaving comes in and gives me exactly the thickness. I love it every time I do it. It's just so pleasing that I get the exact amount of cut I want down. Now I think I'm really, really close to that line. I need to do one more. So again, I'm going to move it down to the bottom of the slot, loosen it, let it drop, tighten it back down. And this time I'm right into that line. So let's just run it along there. Around the other side. And now we've got a slot. There are a few small chunks of whatnot down in here in the corners. I'm just going to come in with a marking knife and clean those out. Now I didn't go all the way to the end of this line, so I'm going to come in with my smaller chisel and I'm just going to widen that out just a little bit. Start with the stop cuts, get close to the line, remove material, and when I can't get any closer to it, we'll go straight in the line, cut a nice clean stop to that dado. Then I bring in the router plane to that last little cutout. We want to be very careful. Don't push the router plane hard. You don't want to blow out this last little piece here. And just like that, we got a really nice dado. Let's see if she fits. Put it in. Yeah. That's what I'm looking for. Nice and happy. The stop dado is one of my favorites because it's just so satisfying and pleasing. And it's one of those things that power tools really have a hard time getting into that corner. There really is no good way to make a 3-dimensional sharp corner with a power tool. Yeah, you can use an oscillating saw to get kind of close, but you're going to end up banging things apart. If you really want a nice, clean, sharp corner, you got to use a chisel. And a stopped dado is a great example of that and a lot of fun. Most anyone can make one of these on their first try that's functional. Will it be beautiful? Will it be gap-free? No, but it will be functional. It's a dado. There's really nothing to it. With a little bit of practice, most anyone can do this regularly and do a really nice job of it. So if you're going to be building a set of shelves, you want to up your game and do that a little bit more, stopped dado may be the thing for you. It's a lot of fun and relatively simple. Give it a try and see what comes out of it. So I hope you like this video. If you have any thoughts, ideas, snide remarks, or have a particular joint you'd like to see me do, let me know that down in the comments down below. I do love doing these little joints from time to time and having a bit of fun with it. Go out in the shop, see what you can make. But if you really want to help us out, think about joining these people over here. Those are some of the patrons on Patreon. Between patrons and members here on the panel, those are the people who've clicked the join button or the thank you button. You guys are the ones that keep us going. Without you, we wouldn't exist. We're completely sponsored by you. Thank you. If you want to find out more about that, you know what to do. Links down below. I think that'll do it for now. And until next time, have a wonderful day. The only problem with dados is they have no emotions. One day, Noonien Soong will let them, but for now,